my goodness, this thing, dude. I'd be getting some tickets on this thing. For sure. Reporting live here from American Biker, I am reviewing the 2021 Honda Cbr 1000RR, which could possibly be my last review you ever see on this channel. Hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully I can live to see another bike review. But this is quite honestly the first time I've ever been on a leader bike, and you're going to experience that with me today. I'm going to give you the good and the bad as I see it. If you don't know who I am, my name is Hexshot, welcome, and I ride a 2020 Road Glide Special daily. I love Indian, I love Harley, so this is way outside of my wheelhouse, and I'm a 35-year-old with a pretty bad back, but I'm going to try not to focus so much on that, give you the good and the bad. So if you can handle some negatives with some positive, this review is for you. Now this mic, I thought it was kind of funny. I'm gonna ditch this. We're gonna take a walk around the bike, and then I'm going to attempt to tame this beast. Let's go ahead and get into it. So this is the 2021 Honda Cbr 1000RR. Now these come in right at around the 16,000 range. There's also a super version of this bike. I don't even know what the name of it is, but I saw it online when I was doing some research. It's like $28,000. But for 16 grand, there's actually a lot that goes in this bike, and the 2021 year for the Honda was actually pretty important because they did some big changes on this bike. One thing, you start up at the front end, you have full LED lighting all the way around. This is a great thing. This bike is actually slimmer and 1 pound lighter than previous versions. So when you have a really small profile, good lighting is important. This is something I'm a big believer in, and I know that you sport bike guys like to keep everything as clean as possible, but having those LEDs, man, is really, really awesome. So this is rocking the Dunlop Sport Max tires, and you have dual disc up front, double piston, 4 piston per caliber, so braking power on this bike is really good. And you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 4.3 inches of travel in the front and 5.2 in the rear. 6-speed transmission, 420 pounds, 183 horsepower. To put that in perspective, my 900-pound Road Glide has about 100 horsepower. This thing is lightning quick, but they put their torque control in this bike. So they give you 3 settings right off the rip, but then you also have 2 user settings that you can change and program. So that's going to allow you to adjust the power level, the torque level, the wheelie control, which is new for this year, and also your engine braking as well. They give you a lot of options in this display, and it also has the TFT. It's a TFT display essentially. So no matter what the conditions are, the screen is going to be really bright and easy to read, which is a good thing as well. 4.3 gallon tank. What I love that they did, they actually made the radiator a little bit thinner as well, but I love that they actually curved it with the motorcycle, with the lines of the bike. Looks really good. You have the exhaust right under that, and then the single pipe that comes out on this side. Now you Honda guys may be able to tell me something, but I know there is a version of this bike, and maybe the 600, that the exhaust actually comes out the rear, which I always thought looked really cool. So a couple more things before we hit the road here. This red and black, personally I love the aesthetics. The full fairing up front looks really, really clean. And whoever owned this bike did not do a fender relocator kit for the license plate, which is a good and a bad thing. The bad part of it is the aesthetics. Almost everybody that buys a bike like this changes where the license plate mounts because it just looks better. But what I do like about this is you still retain your turn signals on either side, giving you even more light. So hopefully that person that's on Facebook behind and around you in cars, they will actually see you when you're about to turn. Now, you have reflectors and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's just something that every company has to put on there, and that can be easily changed. But whoever owned this bike before, they only put like 1,800 miles on it. They decided to keep that on there. So there's that. Of course, you have a passenger seat, which is basically nothing, right? And even the driver's seat is basically nothing. These are not designed to go to Sturgis and back. I'm sure there's somebody that's done it, but they're designed for speed, track, all that kind of stuff, passenger pegs, all that good stuff. So now I think it's time that I stop procrastinating and get on this bike and tell you what I think. All right, here goes nothing. It's got like a speed shifter or something in there. So here we are, 2021 Honda Cbr 1000RR. This is my first time on a leader bike, man. 4th year, 50 miles an hour. Look where this thing redlines. I'll turn this down just a little bit so y'all can actually see the bike. 13,000 RPMs. It is unbelievable to me how much power these bikes have. And let me just say off the bat, if I had FU money, would one of these be in my garage? Nope. Nope. But I respect the hell out of people that that ride these things, man, because my thought is, if you're on a sport bike and this is what you like, one more motorcycle on the road is better than one more person in a car or a truck on Facebook not paying attention. So I appreciate you guys, and that's why I'm doing this review, because I want to give some love to the guys that ride and love these motorcycles. So it's definitely not for me. 420 pounds, 6-speed transmission. It's got a quick clutch in it, or a quick shifter. So I noticed that. My feet obviously are slightly behind me. And here's the thing, dude. I have a back and neck issue. So riding this thing is not comfortable when I lay down. It's just because my lower back is bent and my neck is like up. So that's the most uncomfortable part of riding this bike. It's not because it's an issue with the bike, it's an issue with me. So it is what it is. Wow, you can tell the power when you hit that throttle, dude. I got the power level set on 3, torque control on 5, wheelie on 3, and engine braking on 1. Okay. Now we just had a Hurricane Ida came through here. And it's amazing riding something like this compared to the Road Glide. The Road Glide is pretty much all Harleys, most cruisers. That low end torque, you know, they redline at like 6,500 RPMs. And you get the full power, you know, in that higher rev range, typically, at least on the Harley. With this, it feels like you have power all the time. Now, again, I have some of the torque control things on because it's been so long since I've even ridden a bike like this, and this is my first time on a leader bike. So, you know, like I said, I respect this thing, and I'm gonna take it easy. So if you're expecting me to do 100 miles an hour, yeah, that's what these things are for, but that's not what I'm gonna be doing. I'm just gonna give you my own personal opinion on this motorcycle. So, you know, 16 grand sounds like a lot for a bike that's as limited as this. Don't take that as a knock, but for 16 grand you could buy a Indian Chief, you know, you could buy a Softail, you know, or any number of Softails, not all of them, but the functionality part of this is what I would really miss. I know a lot of you guys wear backpacks and stuff, but I like the ability to have bags, you know, especially. So you're limited in that aspect of it. And let me just say, if you're moving up to a leader bike from, let's say, a 600, that seems like a really natural course that people take. Just understand, this is a whole new beast, dude. I started on a Ninja 250. That's what I learned to ride on. That's actually what I learned. That's how I learned how to drive a manual, was actually on a Ninja 250. But then I bought my first bike, which was a Ninja 500, and then a month and a half later I bought a Ninja 650 because I thought I was ready. Turns out I didn't know anything. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and that's just the truth of it. So Honda has a steering stabilizer, steering dampener that they put in here, which actually detects engine speed. They have the torque control, of course, which helps to keep your power to the rear wheel, prevents slippage, and depending on how you want to set up your bike for track days, you can do a lot with this system. Wheelie control, torque control, power control, engine braking. It's a pretty complicated and amazing system that Honda has put on here. I want to say I had that 650 for like close to a year. And I just, once I had my first son, I kind of got out of it for like 10 years. I didn't ride at all. And when I came back into it, I bought a Harley Iron 883. But again, this isn't a bike for me anymore because it's just too uncomfortable. I cannot enjoy this. I'm ready to get off this thing now, but we still have a little ways to go. So who is this bike for, man? Obviously, this is not a new rider's bike. Let me repeat, this is not a new rider's bike. Some bikes, I think, this is just my opinion, but some bikes I think that are bigger and have a little bit more power, some of the cruisers, they can be respected to the point where you're not going to get yourself into a lot of trouble with some of the cruisers. This bike, one wrong pull of the throttle and you will get yourself in trouble. So you got to be really careful, man. I would not recommend this for new riders, but experienced riders, guys that hit the track a lot, guys that want to do bike nights, commuting, you know, if you can take it and you're comfortable with it, go for it. Hey, I even got a wave from some Harley riders. I think they were on Harleys. They were on cruisers anyways. All bikes are Harleys. You got the turn signal on this one side. You got to make sure you really press that thing in. Notice that. Clutch essentially pulls all the way out. It's a slipper clutch. 6-speed transmission. It's amazing how high this thing revs. No auto canceling turn signals. That surprises me, actually. So that's who I think this bike is for, man. Experienced riders. And you got to really respect these things and go have fun, dude. Again, I don't hate on these guys because I respect them. I will say I see more sport bike riders driving recklessly than I do cruiser riders. And you know, that's a part of it. That's kind of the problem with these, because they're so fast. They're very specific, purpose-driven motorcycles that you can get yourself in trouble really quickly with these things, because when you're just kind of cruising like what I'm doing, I'm not going to say I'm not having a good time, but it's not what it's for, you know? It's not like hitting 100 miles an hour in frickin' 5 seconds or whatever the heck this thing does. You just can't buy this kind of power for 16 grand in a car. You just can't. So that's the good thing about these things too, man. You know, I'm not gonna say you're gonna save a ton of money buying this bike, or any bike. Tires, brakes, maintenance, it's all expensive. Parts, if you drop it. Let's talk about that. What would I add to this bike if it were mine? I would definitely add a better seat. I would also add an exhaust. The stock exhaust does not do this motor justice. What else would I do? Frame sliders. That's a necessary thing, man. You got to protect your investment. Absolutely do that. The headlights are good. Tail light, LED, all that's good. I don't know. It's already got a RAM mount, so you can put your cell phone right there. It's got a great display. It's not super sunny today. Kind of partly cloudy. I could see that screen with ease, dude. A little bit tall, so I'm not flat-footing this bike. Not even close. That's okay. I don't plan to be on it too much longer anyways. It's funny, it feels like the front wheel wants to pull off the ground even with wheelie control on there. It's just like you feel the front start to rise just a little bit, and I'm not hammering on it by any stretch of the imagination. This thing is amazing, dude. Power on these things is absolutely incredible, dude. And I'm getting waves from cruiser riders that look like an Indian. I don't really know, I didn't pay attention that much, but love the coloration. This is awesome. This is awesome power, dude. Again, it's not for me, but my goodness. Oh, I would also add a tank badge on this thing, because you're gonna end up scratching this thing, or I would. So I see Showa right here on the top of the strut mounts, on top of the fork mounts there. I didn't see that before. I don't know if that's stock or not, y'all. I know this guy didn't change a lot. But man, the 2021 Cbr 1000RR, it looks good. It rides amazing. I love the fact that you can change all of these settings and you can kind of ease into this bike until you really get comfortable with it. I think that's a great thing, and it's great for track days and stuff like that too. 4.3 gallon tank, so you got plenty of range there. This thing is awesome. I do like it. If I was comfortable on it, I would consider it as a second motorcycle, but again, I'm just way too uncomfortable on this motorcycle. It's just the fact of it, man. But I get it, dude. I was 20 when I bought my first one, and this is what I wanted. Something like this is eventually what I wanted to work up to, and I never did it, and life changed, kids and all that kind of stuff. But I knew motorcycles, I would always come back to it, and I did, and I absolutely love it, man, no matter what kind of bike it is, and this one included. Let me know what you think about the 2021 Cbr 1000RR. You guys that ride these things, man, tell me all about it, dude. I want to hear all of it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, hold the rubber side down.